Welcome back to Sonic Speed Reading. If you're not caught up to this point, you're not getting any warnings. Turn back now, because we're gonna jump right in. Sonic is just chilling on a beach, recapping to a flicky what had been happening in the series up to this point. And since we have already done that in this show, we're not gonna bother doing that. But like most times Sonic is chilling on a beach, he's rudely interrupted by a new adventure. This time being in the form of a panicked Tails, who lets Sonic know that an invitation just randomly appeared in his workshop. An invitation to celebrate the return of the world's most brilliant doctor. And it seems pretty obvious that Tinker has been returned to his Eggman persona. Sonic does hope that that's not as simple as it seems, but they won't really know for sure until they go to Windmill Village to check it out. So, the duo head off. Meanwhile, Eggman's chilling in his secret base while the platypus, Starline, enters the room. Turns out he's the one who used his warp topaz to drop off the note in Tails' workshop. He then asks Eggman, why? Why even do this? Sonic doesn't know that Eggman's back. He doesn't need to know Eggman's back. They can sneakily get away with whatever plan they're up to without his knowledge. Eggman replies that it's just kind of the way he does things. He wants to mess with Sonic's head. He wants to know that Eggman is back and working on something, but he doesn't want Sonic to know exactly what he's working on. Starline goes along with it. He is an Eggman fanboy after all, but this won't be the last time he questions the way the Doctor runs things. But what is the Great Doctor up to anyway? Well, you find out as he pours a metallic ooze over a flower, instantly transforming it into metal. This is the first of the few experiments we're going to be seeing for the metal virus. We jump back to Sonic, who has arrived at Windmill Village and finds the Elder, Scruffy, that's his name, tied up to a tree branch and just put the pinata sign on him. My God, that's so brutal. Scruffy informs Sonic that Tinker had been kidnapped about a week ago and nobody could find Sonic to inform him. But before they can deal with that, they have to deal with Rough and Tumble. They're the ones that have assaulted the Elder and Windmill Village as a whole, and it looks like they have brand new toys they didn't have before. Sonic takes note of this, saying that they're not smart enough to come up with this tech on their own. So they obviously know where Eggman currently is. We're not going to spend too much time on the fight, so if you want to see how that plays out, I recommend checking it out because the art is quite fantastic and frenetic. We're instead going to go back to focus on Eggman and his experiments. He's moved on from vegetation to fauna, pouring the virus over a little rabbit, or Pocky, I guess, in this world. I keep forgetting all these little guys have stupid names. These experiments are letting the reader know how the metal virus is going to work. If you're dumped in the stuff, you instantly transform into a zombie robot. But if you're just touched by a zombie robot, it will spread the infection, but not instantaneously. This page lets us know that these robots do obey the word of Eggman. But he also notes that the subject shows aggressive tendencies without direction. He just sees this as a bonus, but again, this is foreshadowing of things to come. The experiments continue, with our little squirrel friend now taking up the metal flower and touching it to different objects to see if the virus will spread to anything else. As it turns out, it only works on organics, but things that are processed or inorganic material remains unaffected. Meanwhile, Sonic and Tails wrap things up with the two skunks, and I gotta say, I do love how these look like fun boss battles. Like, I would love to take these guys on in a video game. Showing off Tails' calculations by ricocheting a tub of what I guess is skunk smell. Also, I don't know how I've never realized that through all these years of Sonic comics, I've never once expected any of the skunks to actually stink up a place. Like, this is the very first time I've even thought about it, and it's kind of genius it's used in this way. Anyway, yeah, they stink up one of the skunks, and then they chop off the robotic tail of the other, which just sends him into a deep depression. He's just done. He doesn't even feel like fighting anymore. Poor guy. But before they can round these guys up and send them back to jail, a portal just opens up under them and freaks out Sonic and Tails. The skunks are gone. And while Sonic can confirm that Tinker is no longer in Windmill Village and Eggman is probably back, he really hasn't gotten much further in uncovering this mystery. That's fine because he's going to now turn to Silver to see if he's made any headway in whatever he's doing. Apparently, some random dude just told Silver where an Eggman base was, so the two hogs are gonna go follow up on it. And sure enough, they discover warp portals and some classic Eggman baddies moving tech into it. But before they can strike, Metal Sonic appears and sends Silver flying. As you might recall, just a couple of issues ago, Sonic decided to set this guy free, but looks like he's back at full power, so good job there, Sonic. Anyway, a fight ensues and Silver manages to get the drop on Metal, holding him in place with his telekinesis. But just like the skunks, Metal is teleported out with a warp portal, reappearing next to Dr. Starline. This being Sonic's first encounter with the platypus. He makes a grand show of it, excited to finally take on the hedgehog who has griefed the great doctor all these years, the one being who can truly match his mentor. He's excited to see how he fares against him. All the while, Eggman is continuing his experiments with the metal virus, this time showing that repeat exposure to the virus from an infected will speed up the process. That's all the info he needs, and he's ready to step into phase 2, but before he does, Ruff and Tumble pop back into the base, a little ticked off that their new weaponry didn't work in taking down Sonic and Tails, and they demand more weapons. And Eggman knows just what to give them. While all this is happening, Silver and Sonic continue to take on Starline and Metal, and those warp portals are giving them a lot of trouble. But no matter how far away Starline throws Sonic, he eventually makes his way back, pinning the platypus down and demanding some details on Eggman. Starline tells him that everything's been secured in the vault and gives Silver the access code, and Silver goes to check it out while Sonic has the platypus in his grasp. But the only thing Starline will give up is that Eggman is planning something breathtaking, and that he also planted explosives inside the vault, and he just gave his friend the detonation code. Sonic goes chasing after Silver as the base explodes. Starline looks on, proud of what he's managed to accomplish, and sure, the Doctor will appreciate the defeat of his greatest foe. But as he opens a portal back to the base, Eggman grabs Starline by the throat and throws him against the glass that is containing his metal virus experiments. Furious that Starline would attempt to take down Sonic on his own. Starline doesn't understand, though. Why wouldn't he want Sonic out of the way? He would just mess with his plans. Eggman retorts that the hedgehog is his to destroy. He could carpet bomb him whenever he felt like, but that's not the point. But actually, he did try that in Sonic 3, and that didn't work out too well. Anyway, the point is, Eggman wants to take him down with his brilliance. There's a certain way to vanquish a lifelong nemesis, as he puts it. Starline apologizes, and Eggman tells him, don't let it happen again. Starline's a bit confused. We're like, I don't think it could happen again. Like, what are you talking about, man? But Eggman knows how the hedgehog works and shows a live feed of the destroyed base. Sonic is alive and well. Eggman then follows up by asking why he wanted the junk out of that base anyway. He hadn't used it in years, all that stuff's obsolete. But to Starline, they're treasured collectibles of Eggman's legacy, which I'm sure will be coming into play down the road for Starline. Eggman waves it off and just asks him how his first encounter with the rodent felt. Starline tells him that the experience had put a lot of things into perspective for him, and they certainly will as the story continues on. Back at Restoration HQ, Silver gets put to bed so he can recover from saving Sonic from the blast, and him and Amy decide it might be best to go check out another Eggman base, one he's no longer using, in an attempt to tap into his network to see what he's up to. So the two speed off onto their next adventure. Now, keep in mind, this is 14 issues in at this point, and we have a pretty good flow of things. Sonic usually teams up with one of his friends, they stop some small skirmish while building up to the bigger baddie. Last year, it was Neo Metal Sonic, but it all played out like pretty standard Sonic fare. But going into issue 15, while things still seem to be par for the course, things would take a drastic turn at the end of this issue. Sonic and Amy end up at Echo Mine. Tell it's an Eggman base by, well, you know, he's got a face on the side of a mountain, so it's probably his. The two chat back and forth, giving us a lot of needed exposition about the Eggman War, a lot of stuff we never really got from Sonic Forces. Sonic notes that it seems like there was a big battle here, and Amy replies that there was, and they lost a lot of good people in it too. They continue to talk for a bit, and Sonic reassuring her that they eventually won the war, and Amy made sure those sacrifices mattered, that they meant something. And Amy replies, well, you did win the war for us. And I mean, that's also true. I'm not going to get into my problems with that particular story again right now. They continue to chat for a bit, discussing what they plan on doing and what they're looking for in this base, and they come across a set of computers, and it looks like they're in business. Meanwhile, back at Eggman's secret lab, he begins to pour out some containers of a very specific silver liquid, making them into what looks like backpack super soakers to hand off to Ruff and Tumble. Tells them that these are the backups, don't use them as a last resort. Also showing them a brand new machine he wants them to take into the tunnels after Sonic. And back in those tunnels, we see that Amy has logged into the Eggnet, showing the files for a new ship, one that looks a lot like the Space Colony Ark, but is actually a lot smaller, with a lot of talk about payload distribution. But before they can figure out what it's distributing, the walls begin to shake, and Rough and Tumble come bursting through in a giant drill. More playful banter is thrown back and forth between heroes and villains, and another fun fight plays out as it has plenty of times before in the series. Sonic and Amy team up, get past the defenses of the drill, and take it out of commission. This is our third encounter with the two skunks, and it's playing out exactly as you'd expect at this point. That is until they reveal that they have a secret weapon on their backs, and they've been saving the best for last, activating them with a button on their chest. But to their horror, the backpacks unleash the metal goo onto the skunks themselves. Sonic and Amy, Rough and Tumble, nobody has any idea what is happening, and Rough and Tumble are quickly transformed into zombots. There's no more banter, there's no more tomfoolery, and no matter how much Sonic quips, they don't respond. Our two heroes are kind of at a loss for what to do, so they just keep dodging them, until Amy lands a massive blow of her hammer onto one of the skunks, leaving oh my god. Giving us some body horror action here as the skunk is mutilated. His hand is sitting on the ground there. I think it's here to imply that these characters have been completely transformed on a cellular level here, as he quickly reforms as if nothing had happened. Sonic in turn goes on the offensive, spin dashing hard into the bigger skunk, leaving him another gory, gooey mess. But he, as well, reforms with zero issue, and Sonic realizes that strange metal goo has now latched onto him. He warns Amy not to touch the skunks. Now that he's already infected anyway, he launches both of them into the ravine below. Sonic is out of quips, and that cocky attitude seems to have faded as he quickly realizes he is in a lot of trouble. Whatever hit the two skunks is infectious, and it's spreading on Sonic fast. But that's all the time we have for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and stick around because we'll be back soon as we continue our journey into the Zombot story arc. Toot toot, Sonic Warriors!